Here are some pretty crazy tips in the new update, most of which have never been featured on my channel, so they should help you out a ton and are pretty unknown. Alright, so the first tip we're going to talk about is an easy way to get crude oil, because I know a lot of you guys still don't have a ton of it and it is pretty expensive to use. So we're going to head over to a special spot on the map which gets you a ton of it. The first thing we're going to do is wait for nighttime, and then we're going to go over to the Sakajimura Island and we're going to go to the secluded cemetery at chords -660 and 268 at nighttime. Once you get here, you should see a little ghost pal like suit seer over here, and you're just going to go ahead and want to catch this. So I turn my spawns up to 3, I believe, so it is 3 times. Yep, there we go. I was wondering where the other 2 are. So we're going to just go ahead and catch these pals, and we're going to catch as many as we possibly can. Don't go too far because they don't spawn too far out, but I believe this is their only spawn on the map. So we're just going to catch as many as these as humanly possible, and then I will let you guys know how to get more crude oil out of them. And you can see we're even getting some right now. We caught 6, we have 9 crude oil. I believe they have a 50% drop chance to drop crude oil once you catch them, so just catch them, and then we're going to go back to our base and do a few other things with them. Let's see if I missed any. Alright, there we go. I spent a few minutes catching a few more. It only took like 3 or 4 minutes, and we already have 21 crude oil. But let me show you guys how we can double that back at the base. So now that we are back at the base, we are just going to come over here and put them all in the PAL disassembly conveyor, and we'll see what we get out of them. Again, I believe it's a 50% chance to get any crude oil, and this is on top of the crude oil we already got. Plus, look at that, we get a ton of medium pal souls plus some bones, which are kind of annoying to get. So this is definitely one of the best pals to butcher, and this only took me like 3 minutes. Like, I just caught a ton of them. Again, my spawns are put all the way up just to make this a little bit easier. However, even if your spawns aren't put all the way up, it's still pretty good. Let's see how much we got. Yeah, 42 crude oil plus like a million medium pal souls and a bunch of bones. So that's definitely one of the best pals to do it with, and I believe they only spawn in a really small area all the way up here at the secluded cemetery, so they're really easy to miss. However, you can do this with one more pal too, and it's even easier. I've shown this one before on my channel, but if we go to the southern sandbar of the Sakajimura Islands, or Sakajima or whatever, I don't know, maybe I'm just baiting you guys to comment, so I'm saying that wrong on purpose, but we get a bunch of these kits, and this is pretty much the same exact thing. So we're just going to want to catch as many as we can. These are even easier because these spawn like 20 in one go. Like, there's groups of them that spawn over. They're kind of hard to catch, so I'm wasting a ton of my balls, but if you just catch as many as you can, it's pretty much the same process, and I think we'll get even more oil from these. So this is definitely faster than farming. I know while you're trying to craft some stuff, sometimes you don't have time to just sit there and like farm a million crude oil. So let's see how much we got from that. I think I probably caught like about 20 of these. Like, they just spawn like 5 or 6 in one group, especially with the spawns like turned all the way up. It is really easy to get a bunch of these. So I think we only got like 15 or 20 of that because we already had 40 from the crude oil, so it's about the same as the ghost pals, but in my opinion these are a lot easier to catch and a lot easier to find. So let's go back to our base and butcher these. There we go. I've done this a bunch of times on the channel. Butchering these kits is definitely one of my favorite things to do because they give you a ton of crude oil and they give you some leather and bones, but it seems like the other pal might have been even better because that gives you an absurd amount of medium souls, and medium souls are actually worth a lot in this update. So these are your 2 choices for pals to disassemble on the conveyor belt if you want some crude oil. You can see I have 100 crude oil already pretty much, and that was like 5 minutes of work between the 2. So it's definitely really easy to get crude oil. If you grinded this out, you could get like 1,000 per hour. Plus you get a bunch of this other worthless stuff like bones and leather, and you get a bunch of really good stuff like medium pal souls. So that is really good. You might be wondering where I am right now. I am in my glitched base. I'm not going to show off this one because it did get patched, but I do have one other glitch base to show you in a second, which I haven't shown before on this channel. Just real quick though, if you want to subscribe, I'm adding a little bonsai tree at my base for every single subscriber I get. So if you want to do that and become a permanent part of my base, feel free. Now this next tip is actually a base cosmetic tip, and that is what I see a lot of people don't even know is you can stack a ton of the new furniture. You guys can see right here, I have a bunch of the furniture things on top of each other. I have the table and then the pillow and then the lamp. I have a table over here and a bonsai tree and a bunch of other stuff stacked on top of each other. I have a tree on top of this Japanese pillar. I have this little banner on top of the pillar. I don't know if you guys know about this. If you're big into bases and decorating, you probably already do know about this, but the way the building in this game works, you probably don't expect to be able to stack a bunch of these decorations things. It's really easy too, especially with the Japanese stuff. A lot of the Japanese stuff can easily be stacked. You can see I can place this stuff down here. I don't know why the banner takes so long to craft. It takes like 10 seconds to craft or something, even though it's just a useless item. And you can make some really cool textures with this. This is only like the tip of the iceberg. I just chose like 5 random items to stack on top of each other and like show you guys that you can do this, but you can build a whole bunch of stuff, especially with the new Japanese stuff. So make sure to try this out and make your base look really cool. Now, I was talking about that glitch base, so I'm going to show you guys that right now. First of all, we're going to head over to a familiar location. I posted this location on my channel a million times. We're going to go to the pristine snowfield at negative 350 and 268. Now, I've made a few videos before on a different type of glitch over here. However, we're not really worried about that. Once we get to the pristine snowfield, we're going to go to this weird little triangle rock. We're going to pass that. We're going to get to this triangle rock. And I'm sure you guys have seen this before, but we're just going to go straight into this little glitched wall. There's nothing special about this. You don't have to do anything complicated. All you do is walk from right here to over here, and there's going to be an opening in this rock. However, I noticed when I was making a video on this last time that you can actually go deeper inside this rock, and I even managed to put a base in here. So if you guys want a super secret hidden base, I've made videos on other glitch bases in other locations, but this is a really cool location, and I feel like you can even get deeper inside of here if you really try it. I'm not too great at like glitching through walls and everything, so I haven't been able to do it yet, but you guys can explore this cave in here. It's a pretty big cave. It goes pretty deep, and you can definitely make some cool bases, and especially some hidden and secure bases in here. You guys can see it pretty much goes that entire way, and I feel like if you're good at glitching through walls and stuff, you could probably... Okay, my game just crashed. I don't know if that was because I was inside this glitched area or what, but either way, like I was saying, I'm pretty sure you can explore more of this cave and make an even cooler base in here. I haven't really done anything with the base I put in here yet. It's kind of just an empty blueprint, but I'm definitely going to expand this base a little bit more and make it really cool. Now, again, on multiplayer servers, this is really useful and a really good base spot because you don't want people like seeing your base and messing with your base. And even some servers have like PvP and raiding and everything. So this is just a very good spot to put it in here. Feel free to join my Discord in the description, guys, if you do build something really cool in here, and send some pictures in there because we have a pretty active Palworld server and you guys send pictures of your bases a lot. Alright, this next tip is a really easy way to get cake. So as we know, it's really easy to make a bunch of these regular ingots. Everyone probably has like tens of thousands of them. So what we're going to do is head over to the new gold creator, and we're just going to make a ton of gold coins. They're going absolutely crazy over here, and they're really easy and really cheap to make. Next, what we are going to do is head over to the Pal village. Okay, here we are, the small settlement. We're going to want to head over there. The coords are 73 and negative 480, and we're going to go catch a very special pal. And by pal, I do mean human. So we're going to go over here and catch the main trader guy that most of you guys might already have. And a lot of you guys have already traded with, the wandering merchant. So I don't know if these people get mad at me for doing that. Oh, nope, I guess not. I guess I'm just allowed to freely kidnap their human. So we're going to go capture him and go back to our base. And this is a very easy way to get the materials for cakes way faster than farming them. Once we have a bunch of gold from cooking up our normal ingots over here, which again is very fast and easy to do, and a lot of you guys probably already have a ton of gold or a ton of ingots, which you can make a ton of gold for really easy, we're going to put our little merchant over here out in our base. So once we put the wandering merchant out at our base, he sells almost every single thing we need to make cakes. We have milk, we have eggs, we have berries, we have everything else we need pretty much. I think there's a few other ingredients which are very easy to get. The only other things we're going to need is honey and flour, which we can even buy wheat here. So the only other thing you're going to need is honey, which is pretty easily gotten. So you can get 90% of the materials to make cakes at your very own base for a very cheap and easy price. So capturing this wandering merchant and putting him at your base and using the gold coins from the ingots to buy whatever you need for cakes is definitely the faster way to do that. I don't need to show you guys the entire process. I'm sure you are very aware of that, but even with the glitch farms and everything, which I've shown off in countless other videos, if you want to go check those out, it is way easier to just do that method and buy most of the materials you need rather than farming them all. So remember guys, those are the tips I've brought for you today. Let me know if you knew about any of these, or if you used any of these, or if you didn't know any, or if you didn't know anything about any of them. And if you want your own permanent bonsai tree at my base, feel free to sub up and check out my other videos with a ton of other glitches and stuff. I tried not to put any glitches in this video. This is just basic tips, so pretty much anyone can do this even if you don't like any of the glitches, but I still have a lot of those on my channel too. So if you want, go check those out. Peace guys.